Hello, everyone, and welcome into your daily card reading for Thursday, February 8th. And we'll be taking a look at what messages want to come through for you from God, Spirit, the Divine. One of the big changes that's coming up. So tomorrow we have our new moon in Aquarius, and that is about making beneficial changes in your life, like getting started on that. So the new moon starts tomorrow. The full moon in Aquarius that wraps up that cycle is on August 19th. So it's going to be that stretch of time to work on making those positive and beneficial changes, kind of being more independent, stepping into your own power, stepping onto your path and what it is that you're here to do. So let's take a look and see what all messages are coming through from God, Spirit, the Divine for you for today. We'll look at the overall energy of the collective, and then we'll look at the individual sign groupings. So we'll start with the energy of the collective, and this is one of my new towers that I got, and this is kyanite, and this is about balancing your chakras and balancing your energy, and it's also about communication. So it's a beautiful one. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what wants to come through for you. All right, and this is overall for the collective. I will be doing a special reading for tomorrow with the new moon, and take a look for that. So tomorrow's message, like daily message, will have a little bit more in depth about the new moon. So the jumper card that we had there was the Devil energy. Then we also have Four of Pentacles in reverse. My goodness. Eight of Swords in reverse, and Two of Cups in reverse. So the Devil energy, that is, there's overall some of this energy of what is trying to keep you in your current looping patterns. What is distracting you from living your highest timeline, like being your truest self. So in this one, and I love it, it's got Devil's Food Cake. I'm trying to do it without the glare there. But, you know, kind of your typical vices. So there's smoking, drinking, put gambling in there, shopping, whatever, you know, drugs, alcohol, sex. But the other thing, this is anything that's pulling you off your path. So this is also even those kind of toxic, whether you're somebody that loops through toxic situations, negative thinking, stuff like that. And this card, I'll tell you, it is very, very strange. This message has been coming through so loud in the last week. This is at least the fourth time that this Four of Pentacles in reverse energy has come out from this deck. And remember, there's 78 cards in the tarot deck. So the fact that this one keeps coming out over and over, and, you know, I mean, when I'm shuffling, I just grab into the middle of the deck and pull. So this Four of Pentacles in reverse, this is that energy of over, kind of like, it's being generous and giving, but it has an element of overdoing it. And so the way that this has been reading in the readings over the last week is, yes, there's this generous energy, but it's that generosity is masking other issues. So kind of like, oh, well, let's say my relationship isn't really working. Well, rather than acknowledging that, I'm just going to dump tons and tons and tons of energy into it. Or, you know, maybe you have pick something else. You have a car that, you know, you just keep dumping energy, dumping. What you really need to do is get rid of the car. Like, you can't just keep dumping more and more energy into it. You're ignoring the fact that there's other problems. So sometimes this Four of Pentacles in reverse, it's a matter of, you know, you may be putting on a facade. Like, oh, I want everybody to see me as being this super generous, super wonderful person. But that's not necessarily, you're not doing it because you're feeling compelled to do it. You're doing it because you want other people to look at you and go, oh, look at how great they are. We also have our Eight of Swords in reverse, and this is about breaking free of patterns. And this card's come out at least once, maybe twice in the last week doing these readings as well, coming up in the reverse. And it's about breaking free of these kind of almost like self-imposed prisons or situations. So the Eight of Swords energy usually is about, like, you feel stuck. You feel like you can't go anywhere. You feel like you have no options. The interesting thing, though, and even in this card, and I'll hold it upright just so you can see it better, is the swords are behind her. I mean, yes, she's tied up to one, but the swords are behind her or at her feet. And so that sense of feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. Well, you can. Most of the bad stuff is behind you, but that's coloring your vision for what's happening in the future. So this is definitely that energy of like turning that corner and moving past that, like realizing that, wait a second, I don't have to be in this situation. I can break free. And then with the Two of Cups in reverse, this is about, there's this decision that needs to be made. And there's almost a sense of like solitude or division, maybe some sense of rejection. And here, the two people, I mean, yes, there's the two people on the cups, but they're in their own separate cups. They're holding hands across the cups, but it's kind of that sense of not really in it together, so they're not in the same cup holding hands. They're kind of in their separate little silos. And so when we're pulling all these together, definitely this devil energy, that was the jumper card. So that was kind of, that's what has been keeping you stuck in this cycle. And then now it's a matter of turning that around and kind of breaking free. So their breaking free could result in some feelings of like solitude or rejection, but that's kind of a phase. Like anytime you have things going on, there is going to be that adjustment phase. If you're making changes in your life, usually, and I like this line from that movie Hope Floats, at the end she says something about, I think, Mama always said, endings are usually sad, beginnings are scary, but it's the middle part that counts. I think that's roughly what she said. So yes, there is usually some sadness and adjustment if you're making big changes, but know that you're going in a positive direction. All right, so today let's start out with our fire signs. That is our Aries, Leo, Sag. Let's see what wants to come through for you. We have the High Priestess card. So the High Priestess, this is about divine feminine energy. And it's that inner wisdom and kind of that higher consciousness. So really tapping into that divine energy. And when we talk about like divine feminine energy, that's that loving, nurturing energy. So that's kind of the place that you're in right now. And so it's a matter of turning a corner, but turning that corner with love. So not explosive, angry, turning a corner, not, I've had enough of this job and screaming at your boss and walking out the door. Not that type of energy. It's more of that inner wisdom, kind of knowing, hey, you know what, there's a situation that needs to change. So I know with the fire signs, the towers come up a couple times. It came up in the weekend reading. I think it came up in yesterday's reading. And this is a matter of embracing that with love. And even as you look at Troy's outfit, the coloring matching the border here. So yes, there is going to be a sense of feeling some solitude with your decision, but there's that inner wisdom and that kind of peace and calm knowing that you're making the right decision. All right, let's take a look at Soul Journey card. Acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things that I cannot change. And this is really important. And the colors even, looking at like the center colors matching hers. But this is really important because as you're looking at this devil energy with this overspending and over generous energy, accepting the fact that throwing your time, money, and energy at a situation, if it's not the right situation for you, it's not going to change it. So if it's not the right situation, doing more of the same activity is not going to make it the right decision for you. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing to know, and it looks like there's progress towards this, because sometimes this word is like there's a mantra that goes along underneath it sometimes about how to overcome it. So if the word was blame, then it has a mantra for how to overcome it. But this is almost like you've gotten to that point of acceptance already, because it's not saying you need to learn to accept it. stating it as you already have. And that's that high priestess energy coming in, that inner wisdom, that higher consciousness of starting to have things falling into place. All right. Then we have tap into your creative side. And that's something that's really important, especially as you work on healing. And the creative side, that's going to be that divine feminine energy as well. And it's really important because it helps raise your vibration. When you're creating, whether it's, you know, if you're a musician or an artist, and even if it's something, I'll call it less artsy than that, you know, maybe you're a landscaper and you create these beautiful flower gardens for people. Or, you know, maybe you're a carpenter and you're creating beautiful pieces, or, you know, a painter and you're making somebody's house look beautiful. A roofer, you're putting, you know, getting a nice facelift on people's houses. So, you know, don't necessarily think, oh, creative side has to be that I'm sitting in front of an easel or dancing or something like that. All right. And then your Sufi wisdom card is slow down to relax, break to enjoy the beauty around you. And that's that reminder of, yes, as you're moving forward and as you're healing, you have to make sure that you're not just like, I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healing. You have to give yourself time to break and refill your spirit. I feel like my necklace keeps turning funny. All right, that was our fire signs. Now on to our earth signs. So that is our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What wants to come through for you? Temperance. So this is about finding that balance and that harmony, about not reacting immediately with emotions, just kind of taking a little bit of a step back, embodying that, I'll call it that Spock energy of, okay, I'm just gonna think about this and kind of weigh all of the options. Sorry, my dog's barking at somebody over there. All right, let's take a look at our soul journey card. Freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. And this is also about breaking free of this devil energy. And then we also have this like moving on, turning a corner type of thing, because if you've been feeling that pull and that you're stuck in a cycle, you have the ability to change it. Very, very rarely, I mean, when people say, oh, I'm stuck, I can't do this, I can't do that, very rarely is it that they can't, it's that they don't want to. They don't want to deal with the consequences of making a change. I mean, I would say, how often is it that, oh, I can't leave this job because literally there's a gun to my head. I can't leave this job because immediately everything in my life will disappear and my family will starve to death in the next week. You know, it's not that dramatic, but people build up these stories as they're getting closer to the edge of having to make a decision. So that card is the reminder that, what was that? That was the card that was trying to flip. It says you won't have to repeat this lesson. Let me pull another one. Listen to your anger. It's trying to protect you. So with this temperance card, with the Mr. Spock or Ambassador Spock in that one, anger in and of itself is not a bad emotion. It's usually, that's kind of one of your most raw emotions that's trying to protect you. And so listen to it. It's trying to protect you. That doesn't mean that when you feel angry, you should be lashing out and, you know, hurting other people, behaving poorly towards other people, but listen to it to see what that lesson is, because then this was your jumper card. You won't have to repeat this lesson. If you can learn from it, that's going to give you that freedom. You know, purple's in there. That's going to give you that freedom if you can stand back and take a little bit of time to understand what emotions are coming through, then you won't have to keep repeating this lesson. But if your knee-jerk reaction, having an angry response to something and lashing out, you're just going to keep cycling. All right. Jumper card was willpower. Improve your willpower to reduce your stress level. And then the card I pulled was transformation. Let love transform you forever. So again, that's about breaking that cycle. Sorry, all of a sudden got really dark outside. So it's about looking at what are the lessons, what is it that you're supposed to be learning, and incorporating that into your life, making those changes. Because just acknowledging what the lesson is isn't enough to change, like isn't enough to break that cycle. You have to actively make some changes. You have to actively be doing something about it. All right, on to our water signs. That is our Cancer, Virgo, Pisces. No, I'm sorry, not Virgo. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. All of a sudden my brain kind of had a moment. All right, so water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. We have the Tower. Over the weekend, we had the Tower in reverse coming through as part of the overall energy, with that sense of trying to keep structures in place. And I think it was just yesterday we had our fire signs, well, and over the weekend, getting the Tower card that, yes, things are starting to have those Tower moments. But remember, Tower moments, it's just a faster way to clear the wrong situations out of your life so that you can start fresh, so that you can get a new, better, higher vibration situation in your life. Adversity. I accept the challenges are the best way to learn. So just like I was saying here. So when you're putting this with the Tower card, instead of like, oh my gosh, everything in my life is coming to an end, I'm going to wallow in misery now for the rest of my life. If you can change your attitude towards towers and look at it that, hey, the universe is just trying to fast track, clear some of this heavy stuff out that I have been dragging my feet on and not actually clearing out, it'll help you move through the Tower faster to see the better scenario that's on the other end. They aren't who you think they are. So this usually, the strongest resonance here, or the strongest intuitive hit here, is that this is a relationship that's ending, but it can also be a job, like that maybe your job isn't what you thought it was. And this is that whole, I guess, kind of notion that if your solution to the struggles that you've had in that situation, whether it's a job or a relationship, is I'm just going to give more, I'm just going to try harder. If that has been your approach to it, that's not working. And you're just going to keep looping. That's the devil energy, is here, how can we get this person to keep looping? Just keep trying harder, just keep trying harder. So these two are the ones going together. It's, you're going to feel a sense of like rejection or solitude when the Tower comes through, but know that that's for the better. Your Sufi wisdom card is self-creation. Be the author of your own life. And some of that is interesting is when you put that with the Tower, usually the Tower ends up coming because there have been other signs, like the Death card has been coming out. There's been indications from the universe that it's time to make some changes, and you kind of maybe have been dragging your feet, don't want to do it. So then finally, universe says, all right, Tower, boom. The cat that goes and knocks everything off the counter. But you're being given an opportunity in the midst of this Tower to create your own life. And if you can embrace that and say, okay, based on this, what is my best path forward? Then you'll start to feel different about some of the towers. So, I think I was talking about with the Death card that, usually those come in before the Tower. So, all right, now on to our air signs. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Let's see what's coming out for you. The Fool. So new beginnings, taking a leap of faith. And this is kind of that, okay, I am moving on. So it looks like the air signs are maybe a little bit further along this process or this timeline. Oops. Two cards that jumped out, change and peace. So I'll pull one more since those are the jumper cards. But it's almost like the air signs are a little bit further down that path. Like the you know, the water signs are at the tower point, but the air signs are like, all right, yeah, fresh new start and honesty. So the 3 cards here, the 2 jumpers, change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement, and peace. I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. So those were the 2 jumper cards. So excellent for with a fresh new start. And the pulled card was honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. And so some of this, you know, when you put that with peace, if you have been in a situation where you feel like somebody isn't being honest with you, that speaks to their character. How you respond to it speaks to yours. And you can just do the best that you can do and accept that if people aren't being honest with you, that's a reflection of where they're at on their journey. All right, and let's pull one of these. If you aren't happy, make different choices. And this goes a lot with both of these as well when we look at those colors together. So sometimes it's hard to admit to yourself that you're not happy and that you have a choice in it. It's easier sometimes to be like, oh, but I can't, you know, I'm not happy, but what can you do? And that is, even if you're saying with kind of a smile like, oh, but what can I do? That is a little bit of that victim mentality. And you're the one creating your scenario. So it's this realization and moving on from feelings of being trapped. So making different choices, moving on and getting that, you know, fresh start there. And this card is ending a trauma, transform memories and symptoms. And, you know, this is definitely that devil energy is trying to keep you looping through it. And sometimes that devil energy, like I said, it can either be thought patterns that are keeping you in that lower vibration, especially when it comes to things like addictions, if it's drugs, alcohol, spending, eating, or not eating. Those are things that they're masking your trauma because it's like, oh, I hurt so bad, but what can I do to make it not hurt as much? And so if you can transform those memories and really work on that healing, you're going to end those cycles of trauma. And it looks like this is a new start for you. And it kind of reads that part of the new start is based on the fact that you're saying, you know what, I'm not going to live through old past memories, through old things. Fresh slate. I'm going to find that peace. I'm going to find that peace for myself. So I hope you found today's reading to be helpful. As always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. So like I said, stay tuned. Tomorrow there's going to be a special reading for the new moon in Aquarius. So it'll be a little bit more in depth on the daily reading. And check back. There's also going to be a bunch of other videos posting within the next week as well. So make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification if you want to be alerted as to when the new videos post. So I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.